Hello and welcome to my new series about divine experiences, teachings of saints, and stories from ascetics in the world. Now from the book, Experiences During the Divine Liturgy. Once a Protestant pastor found a reverend and pious Russian priest and told him, "We do charity work. We build old age homes, orphanages, halls, hospitals. We also organize pop rock concerts, and thus the stadiums are filled with young people. Furthermore, we go on excursions, do mountain climbing, tourism. We even interfere in the country's and our nation's political life. We are alive and active. What do you do?" Of course, the Russian priest could also answer that the church also does charity work and is socially active, starting from the Vasilieta up to the so many deeds that every holy metropolis fulfills silently. But he did not respond in this manner. When he was asked, "And what do you do?" he answered in a different way. "What is it we do? We do the divine liturgy, and through divine worship paradise is filled for free and hell is emptied. That's what we do, divine worship." The monk Agapios used to live in the monastery of Dionysio of Mount Athos. When he was still in France, he used to lead a life of immorality, full of debauchery. He was a builder and his name was Anthony. Pay attention to the way in which he was catechized in the holy faith of Christ. This does not mean that he was not a Christian, but he needed to be re-evangelized. So one night, a young shepherd appears in his dream and tells him, "I am Demetrios, from your hometown. Do you remember me? Take heed and do not sin again, and I will be protecting you." He woke up and was wondering, "I wonder who it was." What shepherd by the name of Demetrios was it? He was not able to find him. The following day, while he was working, he fell from a 7-leveled scaffolding and was saved, without even a scratch. Everyone, French and Greek, were telling him, "A saint helped you, for you were saved from such a height." After recalling the dream he had with Saint Demetrius, he understood that he was saved by Saint Demetrios, and Saint Demetrios became his protector. The church in his hometown was dedicated to Saint Demetrios. Since then, his life was careful without sin, and he would go to church every Sunday. He learned some prayers from a friend of his, who was a tailor, and would say them. One morning, while he was praying, the same young man, Saint Demetrius, appeared before him, and asked him, "What prayer is it you are saying?" "Holy God, all Holy Trinity, our Father," he replied. "Ah, very well, but I want you to learn," the saint told him, "also the hymn, Moses marked with the cross." "But sir," he says, "I do not know it. How will I learn it?" "Listen to me and learn it." And the saint started chanting it very melodically. Anthony remained speechless, full of awe and admiration. Yet he pointed out certain objections, for he was uneducated and illiterate. "How will I learn this? I can't do it. I will repeat it." Again, Mr. Anthony was full of objections. "Then you will go to your friend George, the tailor, who chants in the church, and he will teach it to you." And he vanished. Skeptical as he was, Anthony went to his friend, the tailor, and revealed to him the apparition and the saint's mandate. When his friend heard all of this, he was surprised. However, since he had a lot of work to do at that time, he told Anthony to come back in the evening. In fact, Anthony came back that evening. George chanted it for him many times, and even wrote it on paper for him to learn. Then at one point the tailor was illumined and told him, "Mr. Anthony, abandon everything, my friend, everything. You are destined by God for another way of life. Pack your bags and leave now, and go either to Jerusalem or Mount Athos." He narrated the story to Father Lazarus Dionysiatis, who served him during his illness in 1954. From that time, Father Lazarus, I started thinking of abandoning the world and the sinful life I used to spend with women and drunkenness, and the other things, as you know, for I don't want to chatter. I sold everything I had and came here to Mount Athos. "Ah, good for you," says Father Lazarus. "You are praiseworthy. You wounded the devil greatly at that age, when you escaped from his treacheries." Mr. Anthony abandoned the world and went to Mount Athos, where he became monk Agapios at the age of 50. The celebrant priest, an anonymous hesychast, writes that he had a vision of the spirit and saw a heavenly church temple filled in splendor. In the center of the church temple there was a majestic and glorified archpriest, clothed in a full high priest garment. As it is known today, the glow of the garment of this great archpriest was such that the Hezekiah's tongue was tied. No human being could describe the heavenly beauty and gorgeousness of that divine countenance. Thus he remained speechless and amazed. This heavenly and divine archpriest was surrounded by a large number of white-clothed and bright-bearing priests. Many of them deacons were holding inexpressible censers, with which they were scenting the holy archpriest, while the rest were priests with bright, reverent, cheerful, and most joyful countenances. Their priestly garments were as white as snow, as clear as light, and as blue as the deep blue sunny sky. Some of the priestly garments exceed in splendor, brightness, and clarity compared to that of the others. It was of a different sight, a strange vision of the Spirit, which no human tongue is able to utter, and no human mind is able to comprehend. For how can the earthly conceive the heavenly? Then again others were clothed in glistening priestly garments, the way in which lightning flashes. And some of them were standing on the archpriest's right hand, others on his left. However, all of them were characterized by great reverence and decency. Still, that blessed archpriest was so much glorified and exceeded the others in glory, splendor, and grace, the way the sun exceeds in splendor, and brightness the stars in the night sky. As this wonderful and beyond comprehension archpriest was standing, he would look in the east and chant in a loud voice and clearly, somewhat briefly, a certain melody that was in every way most sweet and inexpressible. However, seeing that incomprehensible event taking place, the ascetic priest was amazed, and by hearing that sweetest harmony and extremely delightful melody, he was in awe, astonishment, intoxicated by divine intoxication. Due to the great admiration, he was captivated, but he could not retain the words that were chanted by the heavenly archpriest, and could not recall not even a word, not even one syllable, from what he heard, although he was spiritually attentive. For not only did he know very well that he would be separated from that blessed vision of the Spirit, but also that those heavenly words would seem useful in his current life. Finally, the words he was able to retain from what the heavenly archpriest said and chanted was the following, which in the end he repeated in a loud voice. The more one remembers and loves God, the more God remembers and loves him even more. And immediately the priest came round, and in astonishment would note that his whole heart was burning with fire divine. He would feel it like a lit candle, a burning bush, and it was then when he recalled the words of the two apostles when they reached Emmaus. Did not our heart burn within us while he talked with us on the road, and while he opened our understanding that we might understand the Scriptures? Thank you for listening to my new series, and stay tuned for the next episode as I will go through the book Ascetics in the World.